What's up, space nerds? And we're back for another space adventure. This is about Artemis 2 rocket launch, and yeah. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we will be talking about the Artemis 2 rocket liftoff and what its plans are for the next 9.5 days. In case you were unaware, this rocket lifted off 5:30 Central Time. That's 6:30 Eastern Time. Yeah, this is the most recent liftoff from NASA's space station. And today I'm here to talk about it because this is arguably one of the biggest liftoffs in the history of mankind. And it will probably stay that way for a very, very long time. So, let's talk about the rocket itself. First off, it's called the Space Launch System, SLS if you're unaware, plus the Orion payload makes up the Artemis 2 rocket, like the entire thing. The SLS is a rocket that is sacrificed to get the main space station or spacecraft in orbit, which in this case is the Orion payload. As you can see from the top here, this entire thing will be completely sacrificed for only this to get into orbit around the Earth. I know it sounds crazy, and actually, if we look down here, it says 4.1 to $4.2 billion lost just from the SLS rocket launch thingamabob. Because that thing is expendable. We're not using that again. Which is crazy to think about because we spent the past... I don't even know. We've spent a long time preparing for this mission. And, like, 90% of the rocket we just lost on purpose, which is actually kind of crazy to think about. But moving back to the rocket, let's talk about some of the rocket's features. As always, it has a LAS, which means launch abort system. If at any point during the launch it has a mechanical failure, this LAS will boost like at least 3 times faster than the rocket going up itself, and will boost it, boom, all the way to the side, so the crew capsule is safe. I'm assuming then it pulls a parachute, but it might already be way too low for that. But at least it's not still in the rocket going into space unstoppably, and it probably won't even make it if there's a mechanical failure. It'll probably just explode in the sky. Next up, we have the crew vehicle itself, which we'll talk about more of that later. It's called the Orion spacecraft. Next up, we have the adapter. The adapter is the thing connecting it to basically everything that's getting lost. The entire SLS. Without this adapter, there would be nothing connecting it to the SLS. Which is why the adapter is one of the most important factors. And also, inside this adapter is what I believe to be the rest of the spacecraft. In other words, fairing. This core stage, and I could be wrong about the adapter. The core stage, I know for a fact, is one of the main fueling systems, and without it, we wouldn't be able to get to our proper orbit. And we would have to use the fuel in the Orion spacecraft, which would waste all of it up, and we wouldn't have enough to get to the moon. This core stage is one of the most simplest factors of this, Well, money-wise, it's not, but it carries most of the fuel. The reason why it's called a stage is because this little chain of whatchamacallit, like pixels, after this fuel is done, this thing, this staging product is pulled, causing all of this to fall back to the earth. And that's how we lose all of this piece. But don't worry, because it's for a good cause. It means that it doesn't have a dead weight on it, and dead weight's just like weight that you don't need, which is why there's main chord stages. I'm pretty sure they just did their second one today. I could be wrong. Moving down to the solid rocket boosters. These are the side boosters. They come with the core stage, I'm assuming, just because there's no other staging effects down here. So, the solid rocket boosters are the first staging product to fall off in the sky. In other words, the rocket's going up, 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 up. There's little stagings to the sky attached to it. And it breaks off. It helps it get to a good distance height in the atmosphere, but then it breaks off because it's dead weight again, which is just what happens with the core stage. These down here are literally just jets, these being the most powerful because it's part of the core stage, these being a little bit less powerful, but they're still meaningful, because without these we wouldn't be able to get above the atmosphere without using any of the Orion spacecraft fuel, which wouldn't work because of, I don't know, it's complicated. You can't really explain it, but basically this whole rocket can't detach until a certain height, but at the same time it has to detach soon enough to the point where it's not using dead weight the entire time. Then also, when the Orion spacecraft comes back, and we'll talk about that in a second, there's a heat shield on the bottom of it, in which what this does is what keeps the crew alive during the re-entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. Because so much heat is built up, because it's going down in the Earth's atmosphere so fast, they need a heat shield. So it has to be able to withstand these temperatures, if not more. A little bit of the rocket details and the mission details. So, day 1, it launches on NASA's SLS. We've already experienced that. Currently, we're on day 2, 2 to 4 journey to the moon, in which, in case you're unaware, it's the Orion spacecraft is currently circling the Earth. I'm pretty sure it's on its second elliptical orbit around the Earth, just so it can test all its features. And then it'll go to the moon. I want to say in a day and a half, but definitely over this weekend. Flying around the moon, this will be one of the last things that happens during the weekend. It will fly around to the dark side of the moon, where we've literally never been before. It's going to be crazy. And then stage 4 will be days 7 to 10, just return to the Earth. It says return to moon for some reason, but you know, it's fine. Not landing on moon. Yeah, most people mistake this for, oh, we're landing on the moon again. We're not landing on the moon again. We're just dropping off a space probe, so it's easier to get back on the moon. And also, we need to run lots of tests and just see the geography of the dark side of the moon, just so we know where to land when we come back. That is all of the Artemis 2 rocket launch details. Now, in case you're unaware, the SLS gets this. This is the very top. of the rocket. It detaches from all of this and detaches from the big rocket and releases this. This is the Orion spacecraft. This has a crew capacity of 4 people because there are currently 4 astronauts inside of here orbiting Earth in space. Now, this is a lot more complicated than the rocket itself, just because it needs to have everything necessary in order to make it back to Earth, to get to the moon in the first place, go around the moon, keep the astronauts alive, and many more features that I probably have no idea exist. So, the things I do know about this Orion spacecraft. The docking system. This is the system that connects to other docking ports. In this case, I'm not quite sure why you need a docking system, except maybe at the beginning of the mission when they have to detach. That's probably it. They detach from the main SLS. Well, what's left of the SLS. This is the crew module. Basically, like all of this, they don't use the entirety of this. The crew module is definitely a part of where they go. The side hatch is, you guessed it, where they can get out through the side. This is where they will exit when they come back. The roll and yaw thrusters. I'm pretty sure these are just extra thrusters. They work like RLS type stuff. The little boosters on the side can push it left or right. European service module, not quite sure what that is. 4x folding solar panels. These things open into ginormous solar panels stretching at least 2 diameters of this Orion spacecraft out, just to absorb energy from the sun and hopefully get enough energy, well, not hopefully, they've calculated it, in order to keep the mission going, because they don't currently have all of the fuel on there. 8x auxiliary engines. These are just smaller booster engines that help it, it's a thruster. The RJ-10 main engine. Without this, we wouldn't have enough speed and thrust to get to the moon in time before we lost all our fuel. Altitude control system. When, I'm assuming making re-entry, you want to have altitude control system. And also, you don't want to hit the moon. Radiator panel. I'm assuming keeps the thermal energy stable. The crew module adapter. The umbilical fairing, which I'm assuming breaks off just because it's a fairing, but I can't be for sure. 2x side window, literally 2 windows on the side. 2x docking windows. These things dock with the side of the SLS that it came out of. And then finally, the pitch thrusters, just some extra thrusters for usage for getting to the moon and back. Now, some quick details about this Orion spacecraft. Spacecraft type is a crewed exploration because it has people on it and it's exploring. The diameter is 5 meters. The height is 7.9 meters, which is actually like crazy that they're surviving in that. The max cabin capacity is 4 people. There's currently 4 astronauts on it, so. Habitable volume is 9 meters cubed. That's crazy that they're living in that. Launch rocket SLS, we talked about that. and an SLS is just NASA's expendable force rocket used to shoot objects, spacecraft, into space. In other words, the SLS is 90% of the Artemis 2, which is the space launch system. And now the only parts of it we have left is this little square. Thanks for tuning in. This is my first video about doing space stuff. I'll probably make more. It really depends on how much retention this video gets. Honestly, I'm not looking for 2,000 views. Usually my long form videos don't get a lot of views. All I'm looking for is maybe 10, 15 at most. Within the first week, and I'll do another one. I'll probably do a couple more anyway. It really just depends on what I'm feeling. And also, quick side note, just so y'all know, I love space. I am reading a book called Project Hail Mary. It's really good. They just released a movie on it. Haven't watched it yet, but I'm currently attempting to read the last final 300 pages of this within a day and a half before I go see the movie. That's going to be extremely hard, especially for somebody who doesn't really read a lot. But, yeah, I'll try my best, and I'll keep up posted on it. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. If you're here, thank you. I'm gonna go buy you a cookie and a donut. But, seriously, thank you for watching to the end of the video. I expect nobody to watch this far. And, yeah, I will see you guys in another one. Peace.